Welcome to Around the Weird. Here's your host, the museum curator of the strange and unusual, Mr. Nothing.
Thank you, Mysterious Voice, and welcome back to Around the Weird, a booktube channel where I talk about all the unusual and out of the ordinary literature that I've found in my travels. Today it is Poetry Thursday, so I want to talk about some intriguing poetry, and it is also the period of Pride where I talk about LGBTQA plus poets. And I have a bit of an interesting poem for you today. This poem is all about the earth. I am referring to Tierra Existe by Esdras Parras, which translates to If the Earth Exists. For those who don't know, Esdras Parras was a Venezuelan writer who lived in the 1900s, died in about the early 2000s. Esdras was a transgender Venezuelan writer, which is interesting. They transitioned later in life. They wrote a number of books as well as collections of poetry, and an interesting tidbit is they lied about their age as well, with them telling friends that they were born in the late 30s when actually they were born in the late 20s, which doesn't really make much of a difference, but it is kind of funny when people lie about their age like that. I should point out that this poem that I'm talking about today was translated by Jamie Barrett, I don't know how to pronounce that last name there. Jamie is a Mexican poet as well, Mexican writer, editor, things like that. And Jamie is also a transgender woman. So we are getting double trans here on the channel today. Anyways, without further ado, let's talk about Si la Tierra Existe. I will do a summary, or I'll read it, do a little bit of analysis, and we'll move on from there. Si la Tierra Existe. If the Earth exists, it is to establish the distance of the stars. It becomes necessary to move adversely against the undertow. This feature doesn't respond to your call. It is an unsettling whisper, an emptiness attached to the wall. I hold the tree to its thoughts, this land that ignites with the rocks, this land you could not foresee. I search for other trampled wounds. I concede to the wind a body without memory. And so that was Si la Tierra Existe. In terms of analysis, there's a fair bit to talk about with the poem. The first thing I want to note is it's been translated, so there's a lot of meaning probably in the original Venezuelan Spanish that gets lost when you translate it. Fortunately, the person who translated it was a Spanish speaker themselves, so maybe not a lot is missing, but you can't translate certain languages one-to-one, so I do feel like it's probably best to understand this in the original Spanish, which unfortunately I don't speak, and that's not really the focal point of this channel, but that's just something you need to know when talking about poetry in languages other than English. So yeah, that's the first thing worth noting. In terms of narrative, there's no strict narrative to this poem, just a person talking about the earth and what it means, and thinking about other things in comparison. Just something worth observing there. But the poem does sort of have a sort of empty kind of feeling to it, like there might be a lack of hope, or a lack of you shouldn't really try to understand the earth, because in the poem they say it becomes necessary to move adversely against the undertow. This feature doesn't respond to your call. It is an unsettling whisper, an emptiness attached to the wall. I hold the tree to its thoughts, this land that ignites with the rocks, this land you could not foresee. And so maybe there's a little bit of mystery to the earth, if the earth exists. Calling something an unsettling whisper, an emptiness attached to the wall, that kind of holds a very sad kind of connotation. If you're trying to understand the earth, and it might take a lot of skill to do. And in the end, you're not going to really understand much. Maybe there's no meaning to the earth at all, no meaning to existence at all. However, there is a last line to this poem that kind of changes my conception of the poem. It says, "I search for other trampled wounds. I can see to the wind a body without memory." Now, is the body that the narrator is talking about the earth? Or are they merely referring to themselves by talking about the earth? This land that ignites with the rocks, this land you could not foresee. Are you really talking about yourself by comparing yourself to the earth? It doesn't completely make sense to me. There's a lot about this poem that's kind of confusing, and about Esdras Parras' poems in general that don't quite make sense to me. But it's important to talk about poems that we don't understand as well as those that we do. I will note, saying I search for other trampled wounds, trying to learn more about yourself and understanding your history. I can see to the wind a body without memory. And this is not the first time I've kind of heard that idea expressed. A lot of poets have kind of talked about a body without memory. Maybe once they die, that memory of the memory of them is gone, or you can't really understand someone from looking at their body alone. Now, the thing that stands out to me is a transgender individual is saying this. They transitioned. A lot of individuals with who are transgender might have body dysmorphia, or that the other word, gender dysphoria is the word I think I'm trying to say there. And so there's a lot of fixation on their body, wanting to be a certain way. Even if they are content with their body, they might want to look a certain way, feel a certain way, be happy and content in their body. I'm not transgender, so take with what I'm saying with caution, but my guess, my feeling about this poem, if I'm to interpret it, is that maybe that's a little bit what the narrator is saying. The earth, it's a land that ignites rocks. It's a land that you could not foresee. Maybe in some way, my body, maybe I'm the same way. The narrator is trying to say, it's sort of like a transgender analogy. The earth is shifting all the time. My body has shifted as well, and it's maybe you can't hope to really understand it, or that's the nature of things. Things are changing. Things are shifting. It could be like the earth, it could be your body, it could just be anything there. That's my guess, but I could be wrong. So feel free to let me know in the comments if you think there's something that I'm missing here. Anyway, those are my thoughts on Si la Tierra Existe, If the Earth Exists. Pretty interesting poem, a bit hard to really grasp or understand. Maybe you have to be in a certain mindset or have certain experiences in life to completely understand it. But I think there's a lot of lines there that kind of stand out to me and might stand out to you as well. So if you have any thoughts on this poem, let me know in the comments below. Otherwise, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so that other people can find out about this poem, this poet, or Poetry Thursday. If they also want to talk about some LGBTQA plus poets, I also will put a link to it in the description. So yeah, go ahead and read it. And until then, I wish you the best of luck in your weird and earthbound travels. Farewell.